What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
Vampires have been quite the fascination in movies and TVs for a while now. The sharp blood-sucking teeth in their immortality makes viewers dive in even further into the supernatural beings. Today, we've had hundreds of movies and shows created revolving around a vampire. And in this video, we are going to show you the 10 best vampire movies and shows of all time. Let's get started. Number 10. Near Dark.
Hey! You spilled my drink.
Well, why don't you lick it up off the bar, meatball?
The old but gold 1987 movie shows us the beginning of the introduction of vampires in the movie industry. It's actually a love story between May, a vampire, and Caleb, the farmer's son, and the boy May falls in love with. Driven by love, May bites Caleb, and after he's been proven to be non-violent, she falls in love with him even more. Unfortunately, after the bite, their relationship gets complicated, and with the new craving for human blood, Caleb is forced to leave his family behind and join May and her fellow training vampires in search of human blood and survival. Throughout the movie, Caleb has to make a decision between May and his love for his family. This movie is brutal and violent, but it is a must-watch for anyone who loves vampire movies, especially the early beginnings. Number 9. Angel. This Buffy spin-off was one of the best vampire TV shows back in the day. Even though it ended in 2004, it gave us 5 seasons worth of episodes that show us the vampire Angel trying to get a fresh start in Los Angeles after leaving his one true love behind. This show was in fact a detective drama that had a mix of supernatural in it, like a vampire or two. In Los Angeles, Angel starts working as a private detective and comes across a few associates who work to help the helpless and help him with saving the souls of those who've lost their way. Throughout the show, he tries to fight his own demons as well as the ones that are attacking him, getting into a battle with them. Number 8. Thirst. This South Korean vampire movie, loosely based on the 1867 novel The Raken, shows us a Catholic priest named Sang-hun, who volunteers in a hospital, and after receiving blood from an unknown source, he turns into a vampire. This story follows his life as he slowly falls in love with Tae-ju, the wife of his childhood friend. It shows a bizarre love triangle between the priest and his childhood friend's wife, who once she learns about his condition, goes all in. This vampire, compared to what we have already seen on TV, is not well dressed or romantic. He is a pretty average man who only wants a bit of a connection. This movie turns up the blood factor and raises it, showing a glorious bloody masterpiece. Number 7. The Originals.
You're the hybrid. Half vampire, half beast.
I'm the original hybrid, actually. I'm looking for Marcel.
I don't break Marcel's rules.
One of the most popular TV shows to this day when it comes to vampires has to be The Originals. If you couldn't get enough of the super popular Vampire Diaries, then look no further, since this spin-off show will give you all that you've been missing and more. It follows the life of Nicholas Mikaelson and the original family of vampires once he goes back to the supernatural cubicle that is known as the French Quarter of New Orleans. Even though it's a spin-off, this show knows how to bring its own flavor. It is focused on a collection of characters that are characterized more as evil than good, which is quite intriguing for shows such as this one. Number 6. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Created back in 1992 with no visual effects and only costumes and makeup, this movie becomes one of the few legendary vampire movies that will be talked about forever. The gothic horror film is based on the novel Dracula by Bram Stoker, hence the name, and follows Vlad Dracula after the tragic suicide of Elzbieta. Angry, he swears to avenge her death, but things take a different turn when he meets Minna and takes her to the reincarnation of Elzbieta. The incredible visuals and costumes in the movie make it one of the few movies in Hollywood that have used color and costumes so expressively. This movie has aged like fine wine, and today, after 26 years, it is a haunting and poetic masterpiece that tells a different side of being a vampire. Number 5. True Blood. If you love watching vampire movies or TV shows, then we know that this show has to be one of the first few that you've ever watched that has involved a vampire. Unlike many other shows, where vampires hide who they are and try to stay in the distance, True Blood changes all of that by mixing vampires and humans living together as one nation. The story follows Suki, who has the ability to read people's mind and is a waitress whose life will be changed completely once she meets Bill, a 173-year-old vampire. With the ability to purchase artificial blood, vampires have settled into the town, making it their home among humans. This show definitely changes a lot of things we previously knew about vampires and makes it completely fresh and different than everything we ever knew. Number 4. The Hunger. The Hunger is a loose adaptation of the 1981 novel of the same name, and it follows a love triangle between a doctor who specializes in sleep and aging research named Sarah, played by Susan Sarandon, and a vampire couple, Miriam and John, played by Catherine Deneuve and David Bowie. This couple lives in a modern-day Manhattan mansion when they have to face the end-of-the-century-old romance when John starts to age and rapidly dies. In the search for a new life partner, Miriam comes across Sarah and seduces her into her world. However, when Sarah fights back, Miriam encounters an enemy. If you love the 80s color palette combined with an unusual plot about a young vampire, then this movie will surely satisfy your vampire cravings. Number 3. The Vampire Diaries. This show is possibly the most popular vampire show in history, or maybe even the second most popular. When it first aired, viewers were quickly intrigued by it and its characters. It shows two vampire brothers that become trapped in teenage bodies while getting themselves in a complicated love triangle with Alina, a teenage girl who has just lost both her parents and continues to fall in love with a 162-year-old vampire named Stefan. Quickly after that, Damon, his brother, gets involved in the entire relationship and he falls in love with Alina, making an awkward love triangle between all of them. Even after Nina Dobrev left the show in season 6, the show has lasted 2 more seasons, leaving a legacy behind with a few spin-offs following later on. Number 2. Let the Right One In. Before vampires became handsome on the big screen, yes, we're talking way before the Twilight franchise, there was one particular gothic Swedish movie that managed to capture vampires in a different way. This so-called romance about a 12-year-old boy and a vampire girl who befriends him completely changes the way we see vampires today. Young Oscar, who is shy and a bullied boy, meets his new neighbor, the mysterious Ellie, and they slowly form a strong bond. As the bond grows stronger, Ellie shares with him her dark secret connecting her to a few bloody local murders. We learn that a vampire must be invited into a room before it can enter, which explains the title of this movie. Number 1. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
First of all, I'm a vampire slayer. And secondly, I'm retired. Hey, I know. Why don't you keep...
The number 1 most famous vampire TV show that everyone knows in this world is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There isn't a single person who hasn't even heard of this show at least. It became a huge hit when it first aired in 1997. Since then, it has become a fan favorite for the great humor and the unusual storyline. Unlike other vampire shows that draw the focus on the vampires, this show concentrates on Buffy as she tries to find the right balance between high school and fighting evil forces. Buffy is one of the long line of slayers who have supernatural strength, healing, and agility that is used for fighting vampires and demons. This show has definitely been the first one to start including vampires into teen shows, followed by a gang of teenagers trying to fight them or even join them sometimes. On a related note, we wanted to know which vampire movie or series is your all-time favorite. Let us know in the comment section below. If you'd like to see more amazing videos such as this one, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you'll never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.